Welcome to the Morning Route Podcast. I am your host, Shane Johnson. We've got something for transportation pros, educators, parents, and everyone who appreciates the important role school buses play in our education system. So grab your favorite cup of coffee and let's hit the road. Good morning, folks, and welcome to the Morning Route Podcast. I'm your host, Shane Johnson. And with us today, a very special guest all the way from International/IC Bus, Katie Stok. Katie, welcome to the Morning Route Podcast.
Good morning. Thank you, Shane. Happy to be here.
All right. I appreciate you taking the time. I know we talked about this probably a couple months ago. So it took us a little bit to circle back, and I appreciate, again, you taking the time and joining us here today. I very much look forward to our conversation. So let's start with this. If you would take a couple minutes, please introduce yourself. Again, everybody knows, I think, because I already said you're with International, but who you are, your title, and a little bit about what you do, if you would.
Sure. My name's Katie Stok. I am the Product Marketing Commercial Readiness Director for IC Bus at International. Been specific to the IC Bus business or people transportation industry for about 8.5 years now. Started with the organization actually in the parts side of the business. After being recruited in, I was a supplier to International back in the day and got to know the dealer network and team, and was kind of tapped on the shoulder to ask to join the parts business. After doing that for a couple of years, there was an opportunity on the bus side, and I thought, I think I can do that. That'd be an interesting challenge. And I'm not going to lie, all I knew was that the buses were yellow. So it's been a journey learning, all that I have and continue to learn every day. But this industry, unlike anything else that I've been a part of, it's truly, very close-knit with the people. And it's really easy to fall in love with it when everybody's focused on the safety of the students, right? You have the most precious cargo, so it's really something you can take pride in every day. So it's been a great journey.
Awesome. And there's so much truth to that too, Katie. Everybody always says, once you get into this industry, that yellow really gets in your blood, right? And it's really something special. And as large as the industry is, it's still really small. Everybody kind of knows everybody. And if you don't really know that person, somebody else does. Like somebody knows the next person, right? So it's very easy and it happens quickly to form relationships in our industry. So that part is very neat.
Yeah, I would agree. It's when I joined the bus team here at IC, I had a couple different sales territories at the time, and anywhere from Kentucky and Ohio all the way west through Washington State and Oregon. So through the different dealers and the customers, meeting people through the years, then evolving, through the years into different roles, different functions, running into them at different shows. They may even move roles and they may move states, but they're still in the industry and it's still a familiar face. But I totally hear what you're saying.
Yeah. So that part, like I said, we both agree, very neat about our industry. Tell us, what is, when you're not doing International/IC Bus things Monday through Friday, what does Katie like to do? Hobbies, interests outside of the yellow school bus?
Hobbies. We're big sports fans. Don't hold this against me, but I'm a diehard all things Cleveland fan. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, born and raised. It's more of like a badge of honor sometimes, or battle wound, but very much the truth. To kind of clear my head, I love to get fresh air. I like to go out for a run when I can. But then with the family, I love to travel and explore new cities. So
very cool.
Sometimes a little bit more than they do. I like to put, itineraries together and make sure
you're one of them. Yeah.
We package up all we can into the trip, but they have fun too, so it's worth it.
Are you one of them, like, you got to stay on time? Like, let's go. The itinerary says 10 o'clock. Let's go.
No, I'm not that bad, because once we get on the trip, as long as you get the main things done as long as we're having
Sure.
fun and it's enjoyable. Then
Right. Right.
yeah,
I don't know much about
stop
Cleveland.
going.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
They would stop going if that was the case.
There you go. No, I don't know much about Cleveland. I've been there once. No, just once. We did Cleveland, did a Cleveland Indians ball game back in the day, did the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And really, the only thing I really know about the football team, I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan. So way back in the day, I know the Broncos
Of
and
course
Browns
you
had
are.
some, yeah, of course. Bernie Kosar, that's about as much as I know about the Browns, other than the Broncos beating up on them back in Elway's day.
Yep. Yep.
Sorry to bring that up.
You're not the first. It's okay.
Yeah. So, but all right. So we'll shift here. We'll get into why we're really here together to talk about some things with IC Bus. Obviously, something very exciting that happened. Not all that long ago was the rollout of the next gen. Very exciting for you guys on your end. I think customers as well. It had been a long time, really, since there was an update, if you will, with the bus. So just curious, because we're maybe a year, maybe a little over a year, with the rollout and
yeah. It
just
has been
curious,
a
like what's the
while.
feedback? Yeah, okay. Maybe it's been a couple.
No,
But what's the feedback that you guys are getting from the customers that have them, and how has that been going?
so you're right. Actually, it has been a while. It was close to 20 years since we launched the vehicle and really made a solid refresh. So it had been a long time coming. We launched it, I think coming up on 3 Julys ago, but really, 2 full
Okay.
years. We started to make our first deliveries last springtime. So for a little bit, I think the first deliveries are just over a year now.
Okay. Yeah.
We knew going into it, we were really excited for the amount of things that we were able to deliver with the new design. We had, captured feedback of what was desired, what maybe some pain points were, what was requested. And there can be a lot of things, and you can't always put things into a plan. And in big projects like this, it's hard to get all the way through them and still deliver on every single thing. But we were able to deliver a lot through that project. And now that we're over a year into making these deliveries, the feedback's been phenomenal. In fact, it kind of struck me early this month, actually, about 3 weeks ago. I think I was in the state of Tennessee at their annual conference. And there were buses out front, and we had a few folks come in. We were doing a walk around, highlighting some things in the driver compartment at a time. And this gentleman who's never had an IC in his sleep before, he came in there. He wasn't leaving, and I kept asking, I'm like, sir, I know it was really hot that day. I was asking, are you okay? You need a water? Do you have any questions? No. And he just kept like shaking his head, and he kept sitting down in the driver's seat. And I like, are you sure? No questions. And he's like, this is the most comfortable driver compartment I've ever been in my life.
Yeah.
This is amazing. And he just kept saying, this is amazing. And the feedback has been great. Not everything's gone off without a hitch, but the feedback's been great. And it's really exciting to see.
Awesome. So I'm curious then too, on a hot day like that, did he start it up and get that air conditioner that's right there going as well? I certainly hope he did.
Yes, he did.
That's a great feature. You guys should be selling that feature. That's a great feature that you guys have on there. So
you did love the AC.
Also curious then too, Kate. Yeah, you need it in Tennessee. Curious then, the lead up, the build up of the next gen bus. What was the time frame of that? Like when you guys started, like, because you have to start somewhere, right? With the obviously with the conversation, like, hey, we're gonna build a new bus. How many years in the making with getting the feedback, with getting the design, you guys, all your teams collaborating until that moment? Like, what does that look like?
Right. So I'd say normally the projects or the programs aren't of that magnitude, right? So the projects,
Mhm.
you're not always going to be designing and delivering essentially like a whole new front end of a vehicle or a new model. In this case, that was a very large program for us. A lot, as you can tell, a lot changed.
Mhm.
So for a program of that magnitude, I'd say from the point that the initial ideas were being thrown around and documented and researched to officially being approved and signed off on, and then the whole design phase through actual initial productions, probably anywhere from 4 to 5 years long in duration.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
not something that just happens overnight. A
No.
lot of work goes into that stuff.
Yeah, and I would think that it would, my guess would have been probably a 5, 6, 7 year time frame. Again, when it's been 20 years without an update, so to speak, I can imagine the amount of work and conversations and studies that really need to go into that, because it's kind of that thing, right? You only get one chance, right, for that rollout, and
Yep.
you pretty much got to hit it. Doesn't mean that there's not going to be a couple quirks, or gremlins here or there, right? That's going to happen, but overall, you really, really need to nail it. And things that I've heard from people that have them, I've been fortunate enough to sit in a couple of them. Just had one at our summer conference just a week ago too. Like you said, going back to the cockpit design, uh, everybody loves that cockpit. Very spacious, a lot of room, very, very user friendly. For where the buttons and the switches are at, everything. I would say you guys really, really nailed it, for sure.
Thank you. I can't take credit, but
Yeah.
I'll let the team know. Appreciate it.
Oh, take the credit. I've been telling everybody, well, Katie did this. I tell everybody that. Uh, with that too, what the importance of getting that feedback and hearing that feedback, that helps you guys again with that design development, making sure that the end user is really getting the product, that they're asking for. What does that feedback look like, shape like? How do you guys get that, and then incorporate that into, again, the design build?
That's near and dear to my heart. So I'd handle it two parts. So first part, I think you asked last was how do we kind of capture it, and then I'm hearing kind of
Mhm.
what do you use it for? What do you do with it?
Yep.
Uh, so I would say the voice of the customer can be captured in any way, formally or even informally. Anything from sidebar conversations at trade shows with customers, or even just listening to conversations in some of the breakouts, right, at some of these big trade shows we go to in our conference, um, to formal things, sit down meetings with customers. It may be a customer advisory council meeting, or we do demo events with fleets and even drivers or technicians. We've held events at test facilities or even their facilities to show them new technologies or new concepts. We've even, co-created things and bounced ideas off of each other live and tried to design and get the look and feel going so that people can get a perception of what this new concept would look like. But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, I think the importance of collecting that and then how we take that in, it's listening to it, listening to it throughout the organization. I sit in the marketing group and help out with training and awareness for the dealer network. But not just me or the counterparts, even just in the immediate bus team, but the
Mhm.
engineers, manufacturing. It's important for everybody to hear and embrace what the customer says, because if we're not delivering value in the eyes of the end customer, then what are we doing? So
Mhm.
it's important to hear that, and not just to hear it, but to listen to it and make sure that we're pulling that in all ways that we
Mhm.
can.
If I could ask, I'm just curious. Because again, you guys were building this, again, getting the feedback, all that fun stuff. Was there anything that maybe like one or two, three things that kind of kept rising to the top, like the end user, say the driver, that the
Yeah.
driver really wanted? Like, is there, I'm going to assume there was a couple, right?
So one thing I would say is accessibility in the driver compartment. Another one would
Okay.
be, I will never speak badly of our product or try not to of anyone's, but I would say it would not be unheard of to hear that in our prior model, some folks maybe would have burned ankles occasionally because of the locations or inability to control the heat flow in the driver compartment.
Sure. Yeah. I've
So,
never heard that, but okay.
and additionally, from a driver's standpoint, I go back to when they pulled together the very first driver preview event when they were trying to nail down some designs way back at the very start of COVID. There were lockdowns in place, protocols had to be followed. We couldn't even have everyone in to listen, so you had to hire a video recording team to capture the feedback so everyone can hear it. But we had drivers in and going through, and if you look back at all that feedback, some of the most requested items were things like the availability and location of a cup holder, or the AC controls, or a standard location for a trash bin. It's these things to the average person sounds like very
real,
mediocre, but they make such a big deal to the driver.
Yeah. No, both those things that you're saying, those are very real. Though again, I can attest to that. We could have a different couple types of buses here at Homer Bus Service. And I'm telling you, if the one bus has that cup holder in the right spot and the other manufacturer, we have another different manufacturer buses, right? Okay. And Larry now is really jealous of Mary's bus, and he wants a bus like Mary because Mary has a cup holder and he doesn't have a cup holder. So it matters. The cup holder matters. Yeah.
It's their office. They have to sit there day in and day out.
Office.
They got to be comfortable.
Yeah. No, thanks for sharing that. Like I said, it's just kind of curious because like I said, I would certainly imagine, and again, like what you said, they might not seem like a big deal, but it's a really big deal. And again, it's that one chance to really kind of nail it, right? And like I said, you wonderful bus. It's a great looking bus. So you guys did a wonderful job on that. Curious then too, if someone is ordering a bus today, and we'll probably get into some of the different fuel systems that are available, but just kind of a broad brush here, real quick. Someone's going to order a bus today. What's it look like coming off the factory line and getting back to the customer? Where are we at with product delivery?
Right now, or you say deliver, I guess, working with our dealers, a lot of times they can work with customers if they need to hold something until the customer's ready. But new builds, we're essentially already into 2026 for new orders for both for the ICE model as well as the electric model.
Okay.
So it's a good problem to have maybe for us, but we've been working really closely with our manufacturing procurement team to get ahead of the demand and pull forward as much as we can. So, increasing build days and all that we can to get customers their units quickly.
So would you have a recommendation to us that obviously need to order the bus and all that? What would you recommend? Like, hey, if I need a bus by next September, not this coming September, next September, 2026, when should Shane/Homer Bus Service be putting an order in? And just say a diesel. I'll say a diesel.
Yeah. I'd say if you're we always hear school start delivery, right? So if you're looking for school start delivery next school year, you need to be starting that process now and looking into it within the next couple of months safely. and knowing that a lot of times people need to still put together RFPs or collect proposals. It's not an overnight process. We get that, but definitely planning ahead.
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. Like I said, just for our listeners, kind of like, hey, you know, trying to wanting to make sure that I have my bus in time. What do I need to do? And not to hold you to anything. I don't want anybody to go, hey, Katie said. So
Date.
disclaimer, or we'll have the disclaimer going across the bottom there for you, Katie. So don't worry.
Thank you.
So yeah, you're welcome. With that, obviously some things that are coming up on us, and time goes by very fast. As we know, 2027 is looming. Obviously there's going to be some things coming, as we all know. We're all talking about it. A lot of chatter out here, with the EPA emissions, and, you know, there's the CARB piece, and a lot of things have been happening in the court systems with that. And I don't want to get into that stuff real heavy here by any means, but, just with the evolving, I guess, offerings, what can you share with us, with international IC bus, what's coming? Obviously there's diesel, electric, propane, gasoline. I know there's a announcement here with gasoline. Anything you can share with that? But, maybe again, just share with our listeners what that looks like now and what's coming in 2027.
Well, that's pretty loaded question in there. So
I know it is.
I'd say two things.
There's a lot there.
So answer first part would be, I'd say what's changing, what's coming, what's going, right, pertaining to 27. So we've got the regulation upon us, EPA 2027. It's going to be the first time in a little while, right, that we've seen change like this. And this is a big change, big reduction in NOx. And I'd say, just as if I'm talking to our dealer network, right, and to other customers, it's today's offering, or maybe as of last week's offering, is not the same as today's offering. And then moving forward for 27, we've heard, I mean, I've said it in some of the OE panels we've done, right? Whether it's NSTA or NASDIPs or some of the annual conferences, we've talked about this for a while. The change coming at us quickly. You know, for a while there, it was all pertaining to ZE or EVs, but that's not disappearing. We're talking about more things now, and the change and how it's coming quickly, but specific to EPA 2027, that's a big change when it comes to NOx emissions, right? And the product that is in vehicles today needs to evolve with, I would say, probably, and we don't offer this today, right? But except for maybe propane, but generally speaking, you look at the ICE vehicles out there that are diesel or gasoline, it's not going to be the same offering today that it's going to be in 2027. There's some significant changes that are going to happen to be able to be compliant with the EPA 2027 regulation. So when we say that, you know, today's offering is not going to be tomorrow's for 2027, it's very true. You know, Cummins is a partner of ours, and is the powertrain other than electric. So we've had as many, the Cummins V6.7 diesel, and Cummins, this is all public. I'm not sharing any or shattering news here, but, you know, the V6.7 diesel that we've all known for so long now, that goes away for 2027. That will not be compliant to 27 emissions. But then insert the new Cummins B7.2 diesel, which will be compliant. And there may be some new components or slight new material changes. That it will be a lower NOx emitting vehicle. It will be greener, right? So it's not just the classification on the engine from the 6.7 to the 7.2. I am highly anticipating there's going to be some evolution there, whether it's from maintenance intervals, to material components in the engine itself or the fuel system, to even, the diagnostic tool will be changing. So things are not going to stay exactly the same. We got to, if we haven't already, we continue to vocalize this with our dealers and customers to start planning ahead for change that's coming. One other thing, you kind of prompted the fuel type. So for us, we just last week, we published to our network. Now we are back offering gasoline, introducing the Cummins B67 octane engine as a powertrain choice in the CE series. So we're excited. Awesome. Just offering more to the customers as far as the power of choice. So it's diesel, electric, and back in gasoline again. And what's interesting about that one is it's a 6.7, but it's a 6.7 that will be compliant to EPA 2027. So that will maintain as a 6.7, whereas the diesel will not.
That's great news. Yeah, that's really good news. Yeah.
So there's plenty more to come, I think, particularly on the diesel front, right? As we get to that transition point, probably in the next year, obviously, where we move from stop taking orders on the 6.7 and migrate now to what will be introduced in more detail with the 7.2 and how that integrates into the vehicle.
Yeah, definitely. I want to say like unknown. We know, right? And we've known here for a little while that this was coming. Now it's like on the doorstep. So it's here. I'll be honest with you. I'm really looking forward to just kind of getting to this point and moving on, right? Because we've talked about it. But I still had to even ask the question here today, because again, we're still talking about it, and it's real. It's something that we have to deal with, right? And be prepared for, like you said. And I think that's a key word. I'm glad you said that. We need to prepare ourselves for this, right? And there's some things in here that we might have to do a little bit differently in our shops. Like you said, diagnostic tools, that kind of stuff that we're going to have to look at. And that's all part of it, right? That's the change that happens. I was talking with Dan Cobison on a podcast not that long ago, and Dan was just saying, that's what happens in our industry. It changes. It's still the same. We're still doing the same thing, but some things just change, right? And that's just part of it. And here we are. So, like I said, I'm ready to be done with it, and let's move on at the same time. So, right? I think we all are.
Or and do that. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So,
you be aware. And I may have said it before, but it's, I think before I said my role, part of that's commercial readiness. It's making sure that awareness is there within our dealer network and that the dealers have the information, can help to educate the customers. But it's, we have choices. There's different directions people can go, but this is information. This is what we know, and come with questions, right? Just making sure we can help educate where possible.
Yeah. And, for whatever it's worth, I could probably say thank you and really say thank you from other end users like ourselves on more of a choice, and giving that to us, letting us choose and decide what we really want for a power plant inside of our bus. Because again, we're all different. We're in different climates. All of those things, routes are different. Are we more intercity? Are we out on gravel? All those things are different across all 50 states, right? I think we all recognize that. So again, just having the choice, thank you. Really do mean that. Thank you for giving that to us. And maybe this, if you can't answer this, that's okay. We'll punt. Curious though too, because I was talking with some people last week at our conference. One of the things it's percolating a little bit, Katie, and maybe it's not fair of me to ask, but do you foresee or is there any chatter about with this coming in 2027, kind of one of those price increases again that we're going to see, right? Because I understand where it would come from. There's probably been a lot of R&D that's had to happen. Somehow somebody has to pay for all of that, right? I understand that, but are you hearing anything? Again, I don't want to say Katie said by any means. So I don't mean to put you in a uncomfortable spot either, but are we gonna see a bigger jump in price per unit possibly?
I think there's still a lot of time between now and then. I mean, there is and there
Okay,
isn't.
fair.
But I would say that all signs are pointing to uh,
Be prepared.
I- there's going to be a change, right? There's that
Yeah.
evolution. There is a big
Yeah.
jump. If you look at, uh, we talked about like diesel, right? And we talk about
Mhm.
the change as far as how much of a change in the emissions that's pulling back. And to get there, I think there is a lot of work that's been
Sure.
getting done in that design and execution that I think
Yeah.
is gonna most likely be more than we've used to seeing
Yeah.
on some of the typical
And to
model
me
year.
that Yeah, and to me, Katie, that makes sense because, there's the cause and effect that happens, right? And
Mhm.
and I'm not blaming anyone. I want to be very clear. It is what it is, right? So you can't point finger at any manufacturer, whether it be you guys or Cummins or whoever. These things were set in motion by other entities. And when you do that, there's right, it's probably going to cost more. That's just the way that it is. But I think again for people on my side of things, when we buy these units here in probably the next year or 2 or 3 years, and there's a substantial, possibly substantial, I should say, price jump, somebody again now has to pay for that too. So again, kind of using that word prepare again, preparing ourselves. And even if you're a school district that does your own busing, again, those dollars have to come from somewhere, right? You have to go back to the well and go, hey, these new buses that we're having to purchase cost X now, right? So that's just part of what this thing is, right? So again, I appreciate you answering and how you answered, and I think we all should be prepared for some type of price increase on these units, which makes sense.
I would say, and I don't know that I'm prepared to talk in detail about this today, but
Mm,
I think there's the upfront price, but then you look at the TCO, which
mhm,
I know there's a lot of fleets that get into the detailed review of that and
mm,
contractor standpoint, what does this mean for the business? And I think even just looking at the gas for 27 compliance, I think upfront price might go up. There may be some other unexpected savings that not everyone may be thinking
sure.
initially, right? With a
Mhm.
sticker shock or even thought of what it may be. So I think
Mhm.
there's more to come.
Okay.
Uh, but I think there's scratch beneath the surface. I think there's some good things.
Yeah. No, and that's fair. Like I said, I appreciate fielding that question and um, answering that. So appreciate that. Uh, let's talk about safety, right? Obviously, school bus, we're all about safety. You guys are about safety. We're about safety. Safety features, maybe again with the next gen, what you guys did with this thing, maybe what's coming that maybe it's not on this year's model, but maybe something if you can share. Yeah,
So I mean, with the redesign, we enhance visibility, right? In enhanced visibility, and I'd say one of my most favorite is we elevated and heightened, I think, the driver's awareness and integration in with the vehicle, to help. Which I don't think this is a stretch, but from the feedback we've gotten, I feel that it helps heighten their awareness and comfort level within
mm,
that driver compartment with all that they are responsible for and have to safely navigate down the road. I think we're building their confidence and comfort level in doing so. Um, so through improved visibility, not just the new windshield design, but sloped hood, the side visibility through the entrance doors, first ones, looking at the entrance door, there's no separator there.
mm,
So they can
right.
see straight through from top to bottom. Uh, Safety and technology kind of integration standpoint. One of the initial reviews was we did a lot of benchmarking of buses in operation, different fleets across North America, and just looking at them, taking pictures of the entire driver compartment and what does that look like. And you put all these vehicles together, and one thing that was pretty consistent was the amount of extra things that were mounted all over the place. Because if they couldn't get the vehicle that way from the manufacturer, or in some cases from the manufacturer like that, it just, I say almost very aftermarket-esque. There's just stuff installed all over the place. And, you know, one thing in one market might not be compliant in the next market just because of where or how something was mounted. So we really wanted to do what we could to be able to offer, not require, but offer as much as we could through a factory install to make it easier and with somewhat standardized locations. But the other part was integrate things through the dash cluster and the bus itself. So we have more things tied into the body control module than ever before. One of my favorite examples is the entrance doors. So now the vehicle always knows exactly where those entrance doors are. If the driver starts to move in the forward position and the entrance doors aren't closed or properly closed, they're going to get an audible and visual alert integrated right into the dash cluster, notifying them. Another example would be collision avoidance technology or some of the ADAS capabilities, or, you know, the electronic parking brake from Benix and Telepark. The alerts and functionality are tied in directly to the vehicle, integrated through the dash cluster for the visual alerts, and the audible alerts are now through the bus speakers. Whereas you look at a prior model from us, just using IC as an example, if you look at the prior model, there were what I call these aftermarket-esque boxes, you know, fixated for the collision avoidance system. Aftermarket-esque box fixated to the top of the IP. They had a little speaker on it and a little display. But, you know, in our minds, that it's the driver that's over here, right? But the driver's eyes are this way. So as we integrated that into the bus, it helped the vehicle become smarter and empower the driver a little bit more. So that's from a safety standpoint.
Yeah, you guys have done a lot with it. It's really amazing when you think about really the design, the safety features that have. Hold on, I want to be careful how I say it. School bus has always been safe, right? I shouldn't, but it continues to just get safer and safer and safer. And with what you guys continue to add with that, just continues to make the school bus even safer, right? And it's really amazing, I think, really over the last 10, 12 years, some of the things that have just really swept into the safety designs, again, that you guys are incorporating onto the school buses. So again, as an end user, once again, thank you for that. Obviously, as we know, we're transporting kids, right? And we're trying to be as safe as we can. And you guys are really on the front lines here with us doing that. So it means a lot. So I'll also say this too, sitting in the next gen, and you started with this, the sight lines are amazing. They truly are amazing. It's like I don't know if there's a blind spot. I mean, it's you can really see pretty much everything. So great job on that.
We're the team. I can't take credit for any of this, but the design team did a phenomenal job, I'd say. Talk about the visibility, you know, in our industry. I think we all have heard the forward blind spot area. The combination of a few different design elements, the driver can now see 11 inches closer to the front of the vehicle just with the new model versus the prior model. So again, back to that, you know, enhancing the driver's confidence and awareness around him. I think it makes a big difference.
Yeah, no, nice job on that. Next question. I'm just curious on how does the variability with IC bus and requirements really across North America, so we're talking Canada, we're talking United States, impact what you guys do?
So first of all, I'd say we fully embrace it and support it. But it is different, right? Because we've got the federal requirements, US and Canada. Obviously, we're in North America. for school bus. But then you have the individual state and province level. We mentioned conferences before. Every state has their association, but they typically have their own spec committees as well. Everyone's got their own process, and we're fully entrenched in all that we can be with our spec and compliance team. I guess mentioning that, I think the fact that we are involved there and aware is huge and extremely important to us, so that we can hear what's continues to be on their radar. If they're looking at something, out into the future, we can line that up to our product development plans to make sure that we're continuing compliance. But also, a lot of times our team's working hand in hand with them to raise potential concerns. And there's been a lot of great developments, I think, collectively in, not wording something a certain way that may infringe upon them from being able to accept advancements in the future. We've had people talking about implementing safety and technology. We've had customers come and say, "Hey, I saw this at a show or from a third party, right? They came in and showed me this fancy new gadget. Can we get this from the factory?" But you look at it, it's I would love if at a snap of our fingers we can just implement something, but not just is there the design and engineering work that goes into it, but we got to make sure we're compliant. There are things that have been in the industry for years now, even specifically the school bus industry, that years later still are not compliant in all 50 states, talking just in the US. There are some things where maybe a few states still have not had it written in. You may be able to request a pilot, but it's not something that you can just start putting on every single bus in the state and expecting them to be accepted by the inspector. So it's being aware, the checks and balances, but also working hand in hand with these committees in our dealer network to make sure that we're bringing the industry new stuff. We're continuing to get even safer, integrating new technology, bringing advancements, but making sure that we're all working together. Can't get too ahead, we can't fall behind, but collectively focused on the safety and improvement.
No, appreciate that. I'm going to preface this with what I'm ready to say this way. I'm a huge believer in states' rights. All right, so after that, I scratch my head, Katie, on I don't understand why school buses are so different state to state to state to state. If I was in charge, which nobody ever wants me to be in charge, trust me, but I think a school bus should be 90% the same. So it doesn't matter if you're in West Virginia, Washington State, or Minnesota. It shouldn't matter. The glass is the glass. Those one-offs could be like maybe the air conditioner, right? You're in Texas or Florida, you need an air conditioner. But I don't understand when it comes to safety, design, all of these things, just make it the same. Like it just is, for me, I would just guess the efficiency on your guys' end would be huge, right? Because you don't have to stop the line. Okay, now we got to make 5 buses for Palmer Bus Service up in Minnesota, and they got to do it this way, right? And then we got to shift the line again. And so again, I just scratched my head on the allowance, if you will, of school bus from state to state to state. So personally, and I can't believe I'm ready to say this, and I'm going to get crucified by friends of mine probably with what I'm ready to say. Really wish the feds would step in and go, no, every school bus is going to have these safety features, this design, this floor, this window, this glass, whatever that is. And then 10%, you guys wanted an air conditioner, go ahead, put that in. But that's just me. I'll get off my soapbox, but.
I mean, I think in a lot of ways they do. They're setting the minimum, but it gets down to the customization and even down to the individual district or county level. It's interesting.
Like I said, I think there's think there's just a better way to do it. I really do. And I'll be retired before somebody with any common sense steps in and makes a decision. So I won't be in the industry anymore probably by then. So we'll leave that there. Going back to, again, kind of probably where we started, right? The designing the bus for the end user, which is really the driver, right? The driver. And I love what you said was that's their office. And I've said that many times as well. So when you said that, I was like, oh, right. So it really is. So if you would, maybe if you have anything that you would like to say about drivers, you know, from your side of things as a manufacturer, what drivers mean to you guys.
Again, we put a lot of effort into listing, and then we realize it is their office. You talked about voice of customer earlier. If we're not listening to the customer, then we're not going to deliver value to them. But I'd say specific, if we're talking drivers, this working for specifically for the IC Bus group for the last over 8 years now, obviously it's brought me a little bit closer to this. I rode on school buses. You know, you like them for a while, and then at some age you hit, then you don't always want to be on them. But
right, I'm not riding the school bus yet.
Being in this role, getting to know the industry, our customers, our peers, and seeing and hearing some of the stories of not just the bad things that you hear about on the wider level, but the good things. I've really grown an appreciation for what they do. Some of my neighbors find it entertaining that I don't give up on this, but you know, the parents out there, you know, our kids can do no harm. They're all perfect little angels.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, of course, yeah. Oh, of course.
But knowing what those little angels do at home, I hear, you know, what happens. I've heard, you know, horror stories from customers, and I've seen, you know, even my own community and family and friends and within the business, you know, drivers don't always get a good rap, and it's really unfortunate. I've been a big proponent for driver appreciation, even within the own community. You know, customers with our little, or community members with all of our little perfect angels, you know, anytime the bus is late or something happens, everyone loves to, you know, jump on criticizing the transportation department or the drivers, but we really have some great ones. Yeah. And, you know, we've been lucky with Mr. Chuck. Mr. Chuck will never hear this, but we love Mr. Chuck in our house. He is a fantastic guy. And I think, you know, through our own community, the transportation department in this, I've been trying to advocate for that driver appreciation and trying to uplift that group into the perception of even parents' minds. Like, cut them some slack. They're doing a great job, right? Not everyone is blessed with a really positive home life, unfortunately, as you know, right? And these drivers sometimes are some of the only smiling faces that they're going to see. Very and true. They're friends, they're protectors, they're a shoulder to lean on. And again, they're really great people out there. And I will continue to advocate, even in my own community, right, to be positive and uplifting where we can, and help explain to some of the other parents and district members what it is that those drivers and transportation teams are going through and managing through. And it's not as easy as everyone thinks. Right. It's a hard job, and they're doing a great job at it.
It is a hard job, and thank you for those kind words. And I hope a lot of drivers listen to this podcast and hear what you had to say. It does mean a lot. Again, from the manufacturer. Again, we're a community, right? Doesn't matter if you're the manufacturer, you're the transportation provider, a mechanic, a driver, whatever. We're all on this together. And again, we appreciate our drivers. And it's a hard, thankless job job sometimes, and they got to get up really early. They got to drive in some terrible conditions sometimes, right? And I think sometimes one thing I want to say, and then we'll move on here. We'll kind of start winding down. Sometimes a reason a driver might be late to the next stop is because maybe a kid or two that got on the bus was having a, like, kind of like you alluded to, having a hard time, right? And that driver might have just spent like a minute with them, maybe talking to them, giving them a high five, giving them that smile or whatever, right? And there might be something going on where that driver is trying to make a child's morning day a little bit better. And like you say, come a little slack, right? Come a little slack.
Mhm.
And sometimes wonder, hey, maybe something good is going on, and that's why the bus was a couple minutes late. Yeah, because a lot of times they're having to deal with 50, 60, 70 kids, and they're all sitting behind him or her, right? So it can be difficult. So, but thank you for the kind words.
They do have one leg up, right? You know,
Yeah.
I can't say I'm a mad mom in a minivan. I know that's a term I've heard before, but even in
Yeah.
an SUV, right? You get a couple of kids behind you. Sometimes you're coming out and your hair's
Oh
sticking out
yeah.
and looking
Oh
like a
yeah.
crazy
Yeah. Yeah.
person. But
Right. Right.
yeah, and
Don't
just
make me
this
come back there, right?
brilliant.
Yeah. You're,
The school bus driver has got, up to 80 kids back there behind him.
yeah.
It's
Yeah. It's tough, but no. Thank you again for those kind words. Real quick here too, because this is something we're dealing with. Change of administration. We're about 6 months into our new administration. What is IC Bus seeing the future of EV? It's something we're all kind of chattering about. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, it's still part of our mix. It's an option we're
Right.
offering. We see demand sustaining. I mean, we've got orders on the board that we're expected to build, and our people continue to order.
Yeah.
They like the product from a administration standpoint. Maybe slightly different change in the political direction, but I would say even talking with customers or advisory councils, we pose some similar questions to them to see, what do they think of the future, particularly for EV, even after going through some of the regulation updates. And they showed, each of them individually showed kind of sustaining some demand here. So it's very interesting. We've invested a lot. We continue to invest, and it's part of our product portfolio. And we will continue to offer what is expected and what our customers want from us. So we'll
Well,
continue to partner and offer what's needed.
all right, and I appreciate that. And again, thank you for that too, because as going back to when we were talking about the options, obviously electric, diesel, now gasoline, again, just the options. And I think, again, at the end of the day, that's all we're asking for is the options. And what might work for one contractor or school district might not match up with the somebody just down the road, but that's okay, right? As long as there's options. So yeah, yep, makes sense. So with that, again, winding down here, why IC Bus? If you want to take a minute, maybe share what sets you apart. Not to say the other manufacturers are right, but giving you the microphone here. Why IC Bus? Why somebody should choose IC?
So I would say, not to talk negatively about anyone. Again, my little disclaimer here, but
Right.
because I may be slightly biased here, I'm confident IC Bus provides an unparalleled ownership or customer experience. And it goes so far beyond that of just the vehicle itself, whether it's financing solutions, part solutions, service, contract solutions, warranty, our dealer network and brick and mortar across North America. Our dealer team is, bar none, I'm confident, the best in the industry. Continue to help us on a daily basis and vice versa. But as a team, our collective footprint and our overall solutions that we have to offer far outweigh anyone else in the marketplace. And I'm confident of that.
Awesome. No, thanks for that. And yeah, it's okay to be biased. So I just want to encourage you to it's okay. That's where you're coming from. How can someone's listening today? They want to reach out. Maybe they have a question,
Yes.
comment, concern, whatever that is. How could they reach somebody there with again just a general inquiry?
Right. Best to probably streamline it is we have some contact us forms on our website. So I would visit icbus.com. Not only can you get the latest on our offering and product information, solution offering, but you can contact us as well as our dealer network through the website. So icbus.com.
icbus.com. All right. Appreciate that. Did we miss anything, Katie, that we didn't hit? You'd maybe want to quickly share or highlight before we go?
I think we covered a pretty broad spectrum here. I'd say we're going to continue to innovate and bring new solutions for our customers that we're really excited about. Don't know if I can get into too much detail, but we've talked about change, we talked about evolution. There's a lot more to come.
Awesome. I will just say this then, if there is breaking news, I do expect to get called and we'll do it on the morning route. Fair enough, right?
Fair.
All right, that's fair. So, all right. So the morning route, as we all know here in the school bus world, morning route doesn't happen without coffee. We all know that as soon as somebody comes in, they flip on the lights. The next thing that gets turned on is the coffee maker. Drivers are loading up on coffee before they head out on route. So my question with all of that, again, is the morning route here. Katie, if you had a chance to sit down with one person, doesn't matter what period of time, it could be 100 years ago, a couple hundred, could be somebody today, that you would really, really love to sit down and have a cup of coffee and maybe just ask that one question or have that one conversation with, who would that person be?
For me, it's always the same answer. I don't know if this is a good or bad, but for me, that is Benjamin Franklin.
Wow. Okay.
It's
Because
mind-boggling to me, as far long ago as that was, his persistence, but even with the forms of communication or the level of technology or lack thereof, what he was able to accomplish. We look at what we do today, whatever you're doing, it's that persistence pays off. You're not going to, nothing worth it is ever easy or going to happen overnight. And what he was able to create and do is just amazing to me.
All right. Well, just for the record, you were the first one to say Ben Franklin. So great job on that. There you go. But no, it would be an interesting conversation for sure. There's no doubt about it. He did a lot. He saw a lot. He accomplished a lot. So yeah, it'd be an interesting conversation. I would agree with you on that. So, well, Katie, thank you for the time. I really, really do appreciate you joining us here on the Morning Route podcast, and we'll do it again.
Thank you for having me. It was a blast. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. Stay up to date with the podcast by following us on social media. Don't forget to subscribe to the Morning Route Podcast YouTube channel.